Hey team, welcome back to Spec. My Dark Horse is finally here. I can start running some tests against my Mach 1. Look, you've probably seen some Mach 1 versus Dark Horse stuff before, but what makes this one a little bit different is that we own both of them. But there's only one garage spot left at home, so they're fighting it out for that last spot. Who's gonna win? Come on, let's get into it. Under the bonnet of the Mach 1 lurked a 345 kilowatt Gen 3 Coyote. The power bump over the GT is achieved by incorporating a GT350 manifold, 87mm throttle body, and cold air intake. The Dark Horse has the new Gen 4 Coyote, pumping out 350 kilowatts. We lose a couple of ponies compared to the US variant. When they first announced the power output, it was 349 kilowatts. At some stage they bumped it up the extra kilowatt. I still think they should have bumped it up to 351 kilowatts. 351 is a special number for Ford fans in Australia, and it would have been a nice hat nod. The big difference for the Dark Horse is throwing away the GT350 intake bit and replacing it with a new intake manifold that houses twin throttle bodies connected to twin airboxes. Internally, the rods are replaced with Ford GT500 units, and the sump is different too. Both cars run the Tremec 3160 transmission with a dedicated oil cooler. Actually, they both run coolers on the engine and the diff also. One thing I like better about the Mach 1 is that the openings in the bumper are functional, whereas the Dark Horse has a blank on one side. Whichever cooler that's gone is still there, it's just integrated into the center opening. There is probably a minor aero benefit, but I prefer it to be symmetrical. The back of the Mach 1 is fitted with the same LSD and 355 gears as the GT. It caused a lot of controversy in Australia as the original sales brochure had the 373 Forza listed. A lot of people with orders in complained. It never bothered me, but I'm glad that they did. It resulted in over 5K's cash back. Not too bad! To right their wrongs, the Dark Horse is delivered with the 373 and the Torso. Personally, the Dark Horse feels pepperier on the street. I don't know whether it's that 5 extra kilowatts, but more likely the shorter gearing. We'll find out which gearing is better later, but my gut tells me that the 373s will be better at the drag strip, but the 355s, especially with the 15 the 1-to-1 gear ratio, will be better at the circuit. Inside, both cars have the optional Recaro seats. The disappointment with the Mach 1 was that the trim on the seat was exactly the same as my outgoing GT with Recaros. That is not an issue with the Dark Horse. The seats are finished with Alcantara inserts with indigo stitching. While the seats on the face of it look the same as the Mach 1, they actually have changed the seatbelt guides. Don't really know why, and for me they seem to work worse than the Mach 1, but it isn't a big issue. The seatbelts are indigo in colour too. I kinda wish they weren't for my car. I think they clash against the red. But for some reason I don't think the stitching clashes. How does that work? Both cars have vehicle displays that change depending on the mode, unless you said otherwise. While the normal and track screens are very similar, the Sport, or Sport Plus on the Mach 1, are very different. With the introduction of the digital gauge cluster in the MY18 Plus, my favourite screen has been the Sport Plus layout. Everything was exactly where you needed it. The tacho sweep was small for normal driving and easily visible when revving high in the rain. For the Dark Horse, they've ruined it. I want to be able to easily see the tacho, but it's now right at the bottom and takes a moment to actually find when driving at pace. Ford have continued to add classic screens, so if anyone is listening, can you add a 2018 Sport Plus screen for me? Thanks, that'd be great. At least now you can set a custom drive mode and choose a screen to attach to it. With the Mach 1, it was only by mode or fixed selection. I've set the My mode in the Mach 1 to Sport Plus with the track exhaust. The custom mode in the Dark Horse is Sport with the race screen and the track exhaust. Actually, the Mach 1 does track exhaust mode better. It just warns you that the exhaust is only for the track and then goes away. The Dark Horse has a warning plastered in the screen the entire time you're using the mode. Oh, and I appreciate that they moved the gauges to the center screen, but they are useless off to the side. Being able to set the gauges on the instrument cluster on the Mach 1 is the best. Having a list with numbers on it isn't the same either. If you need to read it, you've dropped your eye line too long. Might be okay if they change orange or red when they go up in the range, but I honestly don't know if that's the case. For both cars, the Magneroid suspension is tethered to mode. I did get excited on the Dark Horse when setting the custom mode and there was a suspension setting, but unfortunately it does nothing other than listing the mode that you are basing your setup on. I've always wanted to set track suspension, track exhaust, but traction control on. Maybe one day. And while I'm on the inside, I wouldn't want to use the Dark Horse to chase after an escaping villain. For all my S550s, the 2015 GT, the 2018 GT, and the Mach 1, you put your foot on the clutch and press the button and they fire to life. For the Dark Horse, if you do the same thing, good chance you've gone too fast, and the car will just turn on accessories. When it happens, I'm like, "Ah, you've got me again." Wait a second, you can hear all the relays click, then she's ready to fire up. The brakes are bigger on the Dark Horse. The Mach 1 has a 380mm disc up front with a 330mm disc on the rear, whereas the Dark Horse has a 390mm front disc and a 350mm rear disc. Both have 6-piston front calipers, but the Mach 1 has to settle for a single piston at the rear, and the Dark Horse gets 4 of them. The brakes on both of them feel great. They both have passive cooling from the front bar. I won't be able to quantify the difference until I can do some stopping tests. But I don't think that that'll be settled by the size of the disc or the number of the pistons. It'll be the quality of the tyre. In my opinion, the Mach 1 has the better tyre of the two. The Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. While here on a set of 20-inch wheels, when we get to the track, I'll chuck the standard wheels back on. The Dark Horse has to settle for the Pirelli P0. I know there's been a lot of talk about how good the brakes are on the Dark Horse, but it's always been on the handling package car. While the brakes are the same, the tyres aren't, and those Trofeo R's are supposed to be something else. Due to the higher hips and bulgier front guards, the Dark Horse feels bigger, even though it's the same size. The reverse camera on the Dark Horse has the most amazing resolution, but mine has never had, or can I turn back on, the parking guide. A combination of the bigger hips, hopeless passenger mirror adjustment that has plagued right-hand drive Mustangs, and the fisheye nature of the camera makes reverse parking the Dark Horse more stressful than the Mach 1. And I do like the back of the Mach 1 better, especially when you're following one from behind. I feel the Dark Horse taillights are too short, too much black plastic, and it has an armhole. The Mach 1 has one too, but you don't notice it because it's in a black panel rather than coloured. But opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. I've got a test planned in the future to see which one has more curb appeal. Oh, and the door handles. Always close the door from the handle. By doing that, I don't get fingerprints on the edge of the glass or the door. The Mach 1 had a hidden key barrel that was covered with a grooved panel. For the Dark Horse, the handle now integrates the key barrel and is all smooth. This comes with 2 drawbacks. The lock location ends up showing fingerprints, but the groove section didn't. And when I hold the door to help the kids, or make sure I don't bump another car, I accidentally hit the lock button, which results in the horn giving me a double 2. But they are both great cars. While I might sound like I'm being overly negative towards the Dark Horse, that isn't the case. Everything is equal or better to the Mach 1. There are just a couple of things that I like less. But that's enough there now, onto some semi-scientific testing. Noise and acceleration. Now we're going to test the exhaust. The plan was to put each car in the garage with the exhaust pointing out. Let them sit overnight so I can get a cold start. Then using a sound level meter app on my phone, measure how loud each exhaust is 1 meter back from the center line of the car during startup at 2,500 revs and then at 5,000 revs. I started with the Mach 1. Now fancy that, a free sound level meter app doesn't work. Now it's either the app or the microphone on the phone, but the sound pressure level stalled at 80 dB. Looks like I can't measure which one is better. But now listen to the same test on the Dark Horse. The app's doing pretty much exactly the same thing. While there's no science in this, for me the Dark Horse exhaust sounds crisper. And it also sounds louder in the cabin. I do like a chrome exhaust tip, but I know why they changed to the black. If you drive around in track exhaust all the time like I do, the inside tips go brown while the outside tips stay shiny. And after some track work, the inside tips on the Mach 1 have actually got a permanent tinge to them. It makes sense that changing it to a black tip would hide that. But on sound alone, I'm going to give the Dark Horse the win on this one. And now probably the most important acceleration test for 90% of owners. What is the 0 to 60 time? No, not 60 mile an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. You pull up at a set of lights and either the opposite of the Dark Horse or Mach 1 pulls up next to you. Light goes green, who's winning the shopping battle? The plan here was simple. Pull up at a red light with a street aggressive start, accelerate from the green light to 60 kilometers an hour and have a draggy measure it. So here is the Dark Horse. Now for the Mach 1. The Dark Horse resulted in a 3.03 second 0 to 60, and the Mach 1, 3.02. To be fair, the Mach 1 I left a bit harder than the Dark Horse, and I did try it again but bogged down, and that was a 3.66. But that's so close, I'm calling it a draw. If you want to win the traffic light battle, you don't want to be sleeping when it changes. Plan from here. I'm going to show some mechanical sympathy to the Dark Horse and get a few more Ks on her before I start wringing her neck. But I'm still taking them to the dyno, to the track, and to the drag strip. Are there any other tests that you're interested in? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, remember, there's more to going fast than going fast. Catch you later.